Hello.
Hey, what's up, Jenna Morello? This is Fasm, and you are on the Fasm Creative Podcast.
What is up?
How's it going?
Good. Cool down. Finally escaped this heat wave I've been traveling around following, but now I'm back home.
Awesome. So, where have you been painting recently?
I just finished now. I was doing beer gardens in Jersey. They do like these shipping containers. Before that, I was in Indiana. Before that, I was also in Indiana, but a different part in Rensselaer. Before that, I was in Israel. I've kind of been all over this year.
Holy cow, that's crazy. All right, so let me ask you a big question. What is your passion in life?
My passion in life, I guess, would just be art. Self-expression through the form, I think, of just making things.
Okay.
Just something I've always done since I could walk and talk.
And where do you hail from?
I'm originally from New Jersey, but I live in Brooklyn now.
Okay. So, you grew up in New Jersey?
Yeah. Yep. I grew up in the woods in Jersey, about 45 minutes outside of the city. And now I live in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, which is probably not the Brooklyn that most people are thinking, where it's like all industrial and buildings. I'm on the water, so I live under the Verrazano Bridge, and it's a lot of parks and water view. So it's really nice.
Awesome. So, what was your childhood like?
My childhood was outside a lot. I built a lot of things, did a lot of sportsy stuff. Again, I grew up in the woods, so a lot of on a farm kind of house. We had maybe like 2 acres, an acre and a half, 2 acres. So a lot of animals and hanging out in the woods. And we lived in like a reservoir lake community. So most of my time was spent outside. And I think it's where I learned a lot of what I do now, looking back without realizing it at the time, like climbing and sinking quick and, kind of dealing with elements. I think it all stems from growing up.
Teaching you how to be on a boom lift then.
Yeah, not having a fear, climbing trees, transferred over to not having a fear of heights and, having to be confident in what you're doing so you don't get yourself killed and other things of that nature.
So is there anything from your childhood that kind of like shines through to your artwork now?
If I look back at it, I kind of feel like it all does. I think, without realizing it, like all little things kind of along the way kind of became puzzle pieces to create what I do now. I come from a very like artistic, accepting, do what you love kind of family. My father's a graphic artist, so I was always around artists and art supplies and that sort of thing. And creating things with your hands was super normal to me. And my mother was a teacher. As is my grandmother and my sister is now. So they're always been very supportive of like, find what you love, do what you love, just standing behind you and enjoying what you like to do. And I just think all of those elements, from being outside to making things to being around all sorts of art supplies and materials, I think it all kind of came together. Because things will happen now that I look back and I'm like, it's really funny that I'm using this skill now, because it's not something that I thought, I would do while older.
Yeah. So you're coming in October to Modesto, California to do Domo Walls 2019. Are there any other...
I am.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
I can't wait to see what you do. That's going to be super cool. I don't think Modesto's ready. But is there anything else outside of that's coming up that you're excited about? Any other festivals?
I believe I have, what do I have to do? I'm going to California. I think I'm going to Mexico for another festival in November. I think I might be going to Montana with Cameron maybe towards the end of this month. So yeah, as of right now, that's August, September. My sister gets married in September, so I got to do that. October's November is Mexico. So I think that's my lineup so far.
Man, you're packed out. That's crazy.
I know.
That's awesome.
It's been a busy year. Yeah, no, it's great.
So what are some artists that inspire you?
Artists that inspire me. Well, growing up, I was really into like MC Escher, and like I was super big into like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo because they had art, but they also like built things. And I'm really big on like I was always really big in science too, so it was based science and art. Now that I'm older, a lot of it's friends. You know, a lot of it, I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by so many really talented people. So it's more so I'll find pieces of art that I like, but I'm more so a lot of the time drawn to the person and like their drive or how they handle themselves or how they, you know, what they make. So that's kind of the current, watching all my friends and going to all these festivals. Like they all, like I just came from Indiana and watching Cameron, Emily Ding, Cobra, Royal Dog. You know, everybody has a really different style in what they do and how they do it. But, you know, the finished product's always mind-blowing. And, yeah, I think more so it's become like a more personal thing of like people that I know.
Yeah, that's a huge thing for artists to be surrounded by artists, and that's something that I think I struggled with kind of in the middle of my life. I was doing graphic design for full-time job, and I just never really felt like there was that kind of camaraderie and influence going on. And now doing more of these festivals and traveling and hanging out with you
What, in
guys,
graphic
yeah,
arts you didn't? Because it was like, it's like kind of a solo computer kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I was inspired by graphic designers that I worked with, but I had this passion to keep going with the mural thing and graffiti and stuff like that. And I needed to get around
Yeah,
people. It's different than just watching it on social media, but to actually get around people and, like you said, watch their technique and talk to them about strategy and business and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's more of a recent thing, like with these mural festivals. I mean, I always admired, you know, my friends and stuff, but I was never really, like, I come from an artistic family, but I was never really around artists. Most people I've been around are teachers. So, but then you go to these festivals and you see, I've been lucky enough that, you know, the people at the festivals are people that I like and people that, you know, I genuinely want to hang out with and get along with. And I really like their work. So I don't have to lie to them, you know, and say, like, I like it when I don't like it. Um, but I think that's a more recent thing in watching people and seeing, you know, their style and how they do certain things, and picking up like tips and tricks. The other thing about art, which I've noticed is nice, it doesn't, or in my world, it's not necessarily like a competition thing. You know,
Oh,
like like it's not like a sports thing or a race thing where you know you're like you can be envious of somebody like in a healthy way, but like you don't want to like cut anybody down and like get in for, you know, there's like enough room for everybody to grow together, and I think I like that.
yeah.
You know, like I genuinely can be happy for friends' success and what's going on with them, and you know what they're doing without there being some kind of fake undertone to it. And I think that's really nice too. It's not competitive like a sport. I think the competition is within yourself, you know what I mean? And then everybody else just kind of fuels that and helps you around it, is what I've learned.
Yeah, I think a little bit different for me. I would say that on the business side of things, I want to support my friends, and I'm super stoked when to hear like you're super busy and other artists that I know are super busy with jobs and getting paid for it and all that. But on the the art itself, I think I secretly have competition, and that's what kind of drives me. I mean, a lot of times it's just to one up myself, but also if I don't have like that little bit of competition in me, I need that to push me forward a little bit. But yeah,
No,
that's
100%. But like you said, that's within yourself.
yeah.
So I'm always my biggest critic, my biggest competitor, and all that other stuff. But it's more so it's a race with myself. I don't feel like I'm in a race with my friends. Is what you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Is what I'm
totally.
saying. Like I'm happy for them. They fuel me. I learn things from them. No, I will always be my biggest critic. You know, I'll always be the hardest on myself. I don't think anybody could be harder on me than me. So I think that is covered. And I agree. I think you're right. There has to be some kind of drive and competition. I've just learned that, yeah, usually it's within self.
Yeah. So you were on Street Art Throwdown years ago. You chuckle. Um,
I was.
yeah. So is there any kind of like memory you have from that? It was on Oxygen Channel. It was a competition. Is there any memory that you have from that? Just that you could share.
Never. I mean, my whole experience with it was great. Like none of it, none of it was bad. It's like these mural collectives that we do, and it was just filmed. I think later on, Oxygen kind of took it and had to make it colorful and twisted it a little bit to put it on TV. But it really was like I showed up at an airport. My first memory was with Cameron, and we weren't supposed to talk to anybody. So my first memory was I got off the airplane and I had to go in a car, and he sat down next to me, and I noticed that he had a spray can and a microphone tattooed on his arm. And I was like, oh, I think I'll like this person. So he was the first person I met from there, and then that's where our relationship began. And that is actually what I was just thinking about when I was saying, like, there wasn't a competition, because that was a perfect example of, like, that show was trying to gear it to be a competition, and they ended up dropping a couple things that they had included because it just wasn't working like that. Like, one of the things was if you won a challenge, what you could do is you had two options. You could, like, undercut somebody else, or you could, like, take a bonus thing for yourself. And I was lucky enough that I won a good amount of those initial challenges, but I never chose the option to like one time I could have taken spray cans away from Cameron and made him only do it with brush. But like, I didn't want, you know what I mean? If he was going to go out, like, one, he was my friend, so I don't really want him to go home, if that screwed him up. But two, like, that's not the way that I wanted to win. So when they ended up airing it, that part wasn't in it at all. Like they didn't even include that part. And I think like if it wasn't art and if it was a different type of show, then people would have played a little dirtier. But I think they really even said to us, they were like, you don't compete with each other like that. You compete within yourselves and you like each other. So I think they had to like adjust their game plan to as they were figuring it out, like, the type of people that we were. But no, my memories of them are great. We got a ton of paint. We had like paint for days. Nice hotel, free food. Like it was iron lac, which I hate the smell of, but everything else is great about it. Like you had you know how we love spray paint. You had a pile as tall as me of spray paint before every challenge just to go nuts on. You didn't have to worry about like wasting it or if there was extra, like that part was nice.
Yeah.
And it was fast paced and the people were fun and the location. Like, no, I don't have anything bad to say about that.
So you don't like the smell of iron lac. What is your favorite tools of choice?
My favorite tool compared to spray paint, I like Montana Black best, the Montana Gold. I don't really like 94, even though most of my friends love it, mainly because it clogs my caps. And I don't like the logo of it. Because my dad's a graphic artist, I'm such a sucker for packaging, and I don't like that can at all. I'm starting to like Loop more. Okay. I like that one, but yeah, if my preference would be Montana Black.
And do you have any like favorite spray tips?
Spray the colors?
No, the nozzles.
Oh, the spray tips, the caps?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I generally stick to, I've actually expanded now to the orange fat cap one, but I only generally use the yellow banana caps, the stock caps of the Montana Black, and now those orange Astro fat caps. Okay. And I think off of spray paint in like the regular world, I like a black Bic pen. Like I really love the TD Bank pens, those green ones?
No, but we'll look it up.
You would probably know if you saw it because they're like everywhere. Or maybe they're everywhere over here, but yeah, they're just like a pen from the bank, but I love how they write.
Huh, interesting. All right, so what are some favorite projects that you've worked on? Like, what do you think was probably the most fun to do?
Most fun? Probably these traveling murals. I mean, because they're like a whole experience, and you kind of come off of them. That's what's in the front of your brain. So just coming back from Lafayette was really fun. The people I really like. The community is really nice and small and welcoming. Yeah, and I think every time I end up doing one of those, it replaces the prior one. I liked what I painted in Israel. It was a different experience, but I liked how the painting turned out. I like.
What was it?
Yeah, it was. I did 2 large roses. They were side by side in Ashkelon, Israel.
And did it have a
meaning? And they
meaning?
had like arrowheads at the end of them. What'd you say?
Did it have a meaning?
Yeah, I just kind of put, because we were on the border of Gaza, so
Yeah.
I just kind of labeled it duels as to tread lightly over there. You know, there's a lot of tension and stuff happening over there, and from an outsider's perspective, I feel like it's a lot of, everybody's kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of just wanted to put something there, but not, you know, not go too heavy into it. So I did like the roses, but I ended up putting just arrows on the end of it to over there. I think it was like 4 stories. So that one was fun.
That's huge.
But yeah, I mean, I'll do projects. I work in a lot of mediums, so it's not. I'll do inside stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple inside pieces that I like. But my statute of limitations for how long that I like something that I've done is pretty short. So I'll like it, and then I'll get over it very quickly. So when you say like favorite projects that I've done, it's more so the experiences, because I feel like I'm constantly, like you said, in competition with myself and just trying to evolve and make better things. So it's pretty short that I like something, because I move on pretty fast from it.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I look back on my body of work and some of the older things. I'm like, man, what was I thinking? That's cheeseball.
I used to destroy it, and because this is what happens. There's a time limit. Like if it's maybe in the past couple of years, like I'll really hate it, and then if enough time passes and it's like a younger me, then I begin to hate it less. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, now it's farther, like young pictures of you. Like if they're a couple of years ago, like you hate them, you're like, oh, it's terrible. But then like when you're really far from them, you're like, all right, like I'm far enough from it now that it doesn't bother me as much. I used to destroy a lot of stuff, and then I realized you can't do just to have a catalog. But I have so much work because I've just been making things forever. So like all my friends, all my family, like there's just my work on all their walls, and a lot of it I don't want to see. But I've had to learn to deal, like they like it, you know, so you can't destroy everybody's paintings and drawings that you've made.
Totally. So what advice would you give a young artist, like maybe in their teens?
My advice would probably be like just a typical, like, just try to stay true to yourself. You know what I mean? Learn new things. Try to just, whatever you like and whatever you like to do, just like keep doing it. Like my thing was always like, just keep painting. Like, keep painting and it'll sort itself out and it'll figure its way out, and it's gotten this far. And probably now with this day and age, just don't invest too much in like Instagram and all that other stuff. I think it's amazing as a platform if you use it in like the healthy way of being inspired and only looking at art. You know, for me, like I only look at art and I get to see all sorts of things around the world that I wouldn't normally see, and like connect with, you know, people I wouldn't normally, and have all sorts of ideas. And it's a great way to spark ideas. Because I remember when I was younger, what my dad he has a bookshelf, and when they would get like stagnant, they would flip through these books, you know, to spark ideas, like art books.
Yeah.
So it's similar to that. However, you see people, you know, photographing their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and doing all sorts of stuff where you kind of question if that's really their life. So I would just say be easy in getting like totally wrapped up in that, and, you know, don't bet, because what if Instagram's not here tomorrow, like, you know, you got to figure something else out. So my advice would be to have some sort of life and ground outside of that, and use it as a tool. So like, don't get your feelings too hurt if you don't have likes, you know, and don't, just use it for what it's worth.
Yeah. All right. So what advice would you give for an artist who's, say, in their 20s and 30s, they're still doing art, they have the passion for it? What advice would you give that person?
I mean, as long as they have the passion for it, I feel like you have to put yourself out there, but I also believe in like the law of attraction. If you genuinely have a passion of something and you're doing it because you love to do it, that eventually the right people and the right doors and stuff will open up for you. I don't mean like just sit around and not do anything, but if you really are working every day at something that you love to do, I strongly believe that eventually like stars will align, you know, and it'll work out the way that it's supposed to work out. Like, I didn't intend on being here. You know what I mean? Like, I went to college for 2 years for whatever, and then I was kind of all over the place. And I bartended, and I did this, that, and the third, because even though, like, I've had the talent of art since I was younger, it wasn't ever something I figured, like, I didn't think I would be a spray painter for a living. You know what I mean? But because I had a passion for it and I just continued to do it, like, it just kind of connected the dots to bring me here. So I guess my advice would just be, like, just keep doing what you love and just work at it.
Yeah.
You know, like don't, you know, like, it's a marathon. It's a, you know, it's just chapters. So it's just, if something's done, good or bad, it's great, but just keep, you know what I mean? Just kind of keep pushing forward and just keep doing it. And I think you have an actual passion for it. And that if you would do it, if a million people were watching or not, then eventually it'll sort out the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah, like what you said, just do something every day towards that goal.
Yeah, like, I look at it, like I always say, like, art is like me, like, for the gym for my brain. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go to the gym for your body. It's just something that I have to do to keep me level. So I would do it whether everybody was watching me and paying me or not. It's just what I have to do. And I think if you operate that way and you really love something for just the fact of loving it, that, yeah, eventually it'll turn out the way it's supposed to be for you.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, cool. So to close this up, can you tell us how to check out more of your artwork and possibly get a hold of you for mural jobs?
Yeah, my Jenna Morello, JennaMorello.com is my website, and the same is my Instagram. My more day-to-day stuff is on my Instagram, but, like, the catalog of stuff is on my website, and I believe my email is in the heading of my Instagram, info@JennaMorello.com.
Awesome. Well, Jenna, thanks so much for being on the show, and I can't wait to have you come to Modesto and showcase your work here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to see you guys.
All right, we'll see you soon.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.